Welcome MP Namal Rajapaksa for this interview with the Daily Mirror. Start off with what do you see as of now, this last phase of the election, and where do you see this election headed towards?
I mean, see, the campaign this is one of the very shortest period. The campaign this campaign is very short. I think it's one of those campaigns where the elections have been held within 3 or 4 weeks. So we have done quite well, and I'm sure the development work we have done has paid off. And when you go to villages, when you meet people, the response that we get is very positive.
And is it cause for concern, though, Namal, that many of those who voted or who worked towards the victory of your father and this government have now steered away from this government?
No, it's not many. It's few. I mean, we had the same issue last time when General Fonseca was almost the right-hand person of my father, who left him to contest against him. So it's the same it's a repetition of the same thing, practically, because Mr. Sena was one of his closest allies, closest friends in politics for the last 47 years. So it's not a new thing for us, for him, or for our party, because if you actually look at the history of SLFP, we had 13 or 14 general secretaries. Out of them, 8 of them had left the party and gone against the existing leadership. So it's not something that we could say that everyone who was with us campaigning against us. But there are a few people who have gone, and I'm sure, and we are very confident that the vote base did not move. It was the individuals who went for their personal reasons.
One of the things that the Jatika Heluruma has been with your father, with the incumbent president for all this while. And one of the things that they are, the main cries is that this country is going towards, to a pitfall, or towards because of rampant corruption, nepotism, family bandism. These are their cries on the election stage. Do you not agree that there is some sort of justification to what they've been saying?
No, I mean, we can't agree on what they say, because there is no such foundation for them to make allegations. As we always say, the corruption allegation has been made for so many years. It started in 1947 when G.G. Ponambalam, who was the fisheries and industrial minister at that time. And ever since, every government, every minister has been blamed for corruption. But what they refer to now, there is no proper reason for them. But for sake of saying it, because they want a campaign with them, they talk about corruption. But now they're talking about the highway. But actually the tender of the highway was given not when President Rajapaksa was in power. It was given way before that, even though construction did not take place. So the exact people who complain or blame President Rajapaksa and his government for corruption, if they are referring to the highway, they had to be blamed before, because they are the one who gave to this particular company. And at the same time, what they don't look at is the ground situation, the amount that we spend for land acquisition, and amount of the bridges exceeds safety measures that we have taken for the highway. So they just make allegations for sake of doing it, without proper background or reason for that.
But Mr. Champiranam released a book, Alapal Bhartika, and in his book he details specifically how in the power sector, or how in the highway sector, or how there has been rampant abuse of state resources and corruption.
There's a story behind the book. There's a story in the book, but there is no proper proof in the book. See, when I can write a book about a lot of things. They have a book written about previous leaders as well. But it's not what you write. It's the fact and the proof. Proving a point. You can argue and create a big picture and show it. If you can build a drama out of it. But that's not what you should be doing, or what people should be believing. It's a real situation.
Moving on, Mr. Rajapaksa, there's one main cry of the old SLFP guard is that one thing, people who have surrounded the president are all new people who have not been there throughout the president's election or throughout his career, but they've been new people. Like, for example, now the most vociferous campaigners on stage, like Mr. Johnson Fernando or Mr. Gunawardena, or for example, Mr. Ajin Gunawardena, and that has corrupted the thinking of the president. What do you have to say to this?
No, I don't agree on that, because still the same hardcore SLFPs are with President Rajapaksa. But I must admit that there are certain new upcoming leaders who have been highlighted, but that they are not being highlighted by President Rajapaksa or the government because of their talent. They are being highlighted. So when you want excuse to blame someone, there is no reason at all, or when they can't find any excuse, they seem to they attempt to find excuses like this, which has no proper base.
Moving away, Namal, to your, Mr. Rajapaksa, to the work that you have been doing as youth, there's a big cry that the Tarun Rehatak, there has been some sort of as propaganda might have it, but in actual fact, we have people leaving this country without employment. We have people rushing to Korea for jobs, and there are no industries that this government has created. What is your take on it?
See, the industry has started already. I mean, we do have factories in Sri Lanka. We do have more investment than ever before. No one can say there are no industries in Sri Lanka. We just started after it. It has been only 4 years. If I ask you the same question, how long does it take to establish a business or a building or to finish construction of 40-story building? Anyone would say it will take near 4 to 5 years. So we ended the war 5 years ago. So we have started the ports. We have started Hambantota. We have started Trincomalee Industrial Zone. We have Hambantota Industrial Zone. Then Olivette Port has been done. The Colombo expansion is happening. So the main backbone for industries, the industrialization has started. So when we do infrastructure also, they complain saying we are spending money on infrastructure. But at the same time they are asking questions, where are the factories? So if you build roads, if you build highways, if you build airports, if you build rural infrastructure, if you give 100% electricity to the people and for industries, then you will see people coming and investing in factories. Otherwise it will be always city-oriented, city-based hotels or industries, nothing else.
Okay. And do you actually honestly believe that the people of this country, the real rural masses of this country, where we have over like a high percentage of some of the dependent families, have they benefited from this development drive?
Yeah, I mean, that's an obvious question. If you obviously, it's obviously yes, because if you go to rural areas, you will see the amount of development that has been taken place. You can't see it from Kalam, to be honest. You can't be on a city and talk about a person who lives in Madhavati or Kapitigola. To go to those areas. 5 years ago, those areas did not have roads, no electricity, no water, no schools, no teachers. But now the roads have been done. 98% of the Sri Lankan population has electricity, and other infrastructure has been developed. So the life standards has gone up. I'm talking about Samurdhi. At one point, the biggest allegation that opposition brought was that we have cut down the Samurdhi, and now they are complaining that we need Samurdhi. So it's all political. I mean, when there's an election coming up, they want to find faults in the government, and they want to create stuff. Because this is what happens when you don't do politics with policies. So if you come up with policies, if you argue from policies, rather than trying to break reputations, create stories, and try to win election, then I think a lot of these things will change.
So let's talk about policies then, Mr. Rajapaksa. One of your fathers, 2005, in his election manifesto, it was the abolition of the executive presidency was one of the key factors. In 2010, again there was a re-promise, but then what the country saw was, if you're taking on policies, him enacting the 18th Amendment.
Yeah.
Too many argue to the detriment of democracy in this country. Why have you all not kept with those promises that you all gave the people?
Well, see, he appointed the parliamentary committee, but the opposition did not take part. So without the main opposition and TNA taking part, if he does it on his own, or the SLFP do it on our own, then again is it democracy? It will be something where President Rajapaksa wants. But what we have to understand is we need a constitution where everyone can accept. Not the SLFP wants to do, or not what UMP wants to do, or not what TNA wants, or the Muslim Congress, or Mr. Sirisena's new party which is promoting now. It has to be a collective decision, because it's a constitution, it's not a piece of paper, it's not something that you can throw overnight. You have to go through series of discussions and build something which is good for the country. So when you appoint the parliamentary committee, and if they don't want to take part of that, and then they complain saying, why didn't you abolish the executive presidency? I mean, there's no, you can't do that. But if they have participated, if there have been serious discussions going for the last 3 to 4 years, then they complain, then it's fair now.
But Mr. Rajapaksa, despite you saying that, the APRC, All Party Representative Committee, headed by Professor Tisavitharan, look into the Tamil grievances, for 3 years. They have continuously they met, or 3 or more years, and at the end of the day, the entire report and everything was shelved. So, isn't there a contradiction in what you're saying? Is it actually this?
See, you can't exactly say that, because it has to come to the parliament, then it has to be debated, then it has to be taken forward. But without doing that, you can't say, come out to the public and say, listen, President Rajapaksa is not abolishing what he executive presidency or what he has promised. You have to go through the process. You can't just do it overnight. So when there is a proper process happening, when you don't take part in that, and then you come to it. So if they want to gain political mileage from this, then it's fine. But if they really want this constitution to be amended, then they should have taken part and come up with the proper solutions.
Many of the opposition, especially the JVP, actually, Mr. Kumar Janak, has been very vocal about the princes in the family of the king. Just to make it clear, Mr. Rajapaksa, just a few questions.
Yes,
questions that one thing is about the horses. Mr. Rajapaksa, does you or your family have horses that you all?
We don't have horses in Morelli or anywhere. But just a political. It's just as I said. It's when you don't have policies to fight with, you come up with mad.
And helicopters and all that.
See, the helicopter is not something you can keep inside my office in Hambantota or my house in Tango. There's a proper procedure for doing helicopters. There are proper procedures between animals in this country. So you can't just bring something like that even though you're the president's son. Or even if you're a king's son in the Middle East. You can't do that. There's a proper procedure to do those things.
And Mr. Rajapaksa, again, and talking about this same line of attack against you, the Lamborghini cry, the fact that you would have night races in Colombo rather than actually feed the poor, when there are so many problems in this country or so many issues in this country, that you'd rather focus on having night races in Colombo and Kandy. Why would you have night races?
See, night races were organized by Carlton Motorsports, which is an individual organization. But just because it has Carlton, and my Tangol house has the name of Carlton, my mother's preschool goes as Carlton, everyone thinks it's 100% that we are doing it 100%. But no, it's an organization, but we do help anyone, not only them. Even if any other sport wants us to help them, we will help them. But night races, they organize it as part of the tourism promotion in this country. If you take Singapore's night race, Malaysia has, I think Sri Lanka is the only country in the region who doesn't have Formula 1. And every other country, every country in the region has Formula 1. But this Lamborghini story, we don't have a Lamborghini, and everyone knows it. But they just keep talking about it. And
but
it earlier started with Aston Martin. Everyone knows who owns Aston Martin. So those are just created for political mud. But at the same time, I must tell that my second brother, Yoshita, is the chairman of LA Federation. And he organized the LA conference after 100 years, the first LA conference, national conference. And last year, LA finals were played under floodlights, but no one spoke about that. And LA has been neglected for so many years. And when we directly do something, and when we are involved in it, 100%, no one talks about it. But if there's something that we are not involved, but we help them, because we feel we should help organizations that want to promote Sri Lanka and try to do something new for Sri Lanka. And then they start criticizing that.
Yeah, but one of the main, I think the ideology behind that criticism is, Mr. Rajapaksa, that your government is focusing on the super rich, on their entertainment, and that is what you all are feeding rather than actually working towards the poor of this country. What do you have to say to that?
See, how can you say that when from just one particular project that happens in Colombo, when we are the only government who has done rural infrastructure? We have built houses, roads, electricity 98%. Now water has been almost done by end of next year, drinking clean water. And millions rupees goes to investment in rural infrastructure. And if you take Maindo there, and technical colleges, which is constructed in all 1,000 schools in Sri Lanka. All those investments go to rural economy. And our government and our policies are based on rural economy. We are concentrating on lifting the lives of rural youth, rural families, and build them and give them the opportunity and the development that an urban society can see. But we do have a policy of taking the urban development of rural areas and the natural beauty of rural areas to bring it to the urban areas. And that's what we are doing now.
there is a sense of feeling in this country, or it has been a cry of the opposition, that this country is ruled by rituals, that it is the person who the astrologer who decides the fate of when the election should happen and all that. As a young parliamentarian, are you a believer of these rituals?
Well, see, we do believe in rituals, because you can't say you're a Sri Lankan or a Sinhalese or a Sri Lankan if you don't believe in rituals. Even Muslims believe in rituals, even Hindus believe in rituals. That's why we Asians, that's how we have been brought up, and that's our foundation. So we do believe very strong in rituals, but there's no secret behind that or reason from that influence to keep elections. But we have to admit that we as individuals, from the day we were born, we have been practicing rituals, and we have been doing certain things on auspicious times. And we are very happy about it, and we are proud of it. I mean, there is no reason why I should say, or anyone in Sri Lanka, who has to say that they don't believe in those things. Because that is our culture, that's part of our culture.
Mr. Rajapaksa, what is it that you would be holding?
Well, see, even my father has something like this, even I have. And we believe it's part of religion or rituals that comes through. So one thing in my life is I don't question God. So if this has something good and is blessed, then I won't question that.
And finally, Mr. Rajapaksa, Mr. Sujivasena Singh, in an interview with us in Daily Mirror, and publicly also challenged you for an open debate. Why would you not take this open debate?
See, I'm just curious whether he has actually challenged Namal Rajapaksa, presidential candidate, because during a presidential election, and normally you challenge the candidate, not the son. So I'm sure he has been. I assume that he has challenged the candidate, but on the other hand, even if it's me, and I don't think he should be worried about anything what I do, because I do just normal politics and I do my work as a young individual. So we'll see after elections, because now I'm very busy with the work. We have only a few weeks more for the campaign.
Right. Thank you very much, Mr.
Thank you.
Thank you.